How's it going, Yankee fans? Welcome back to Fireside Yankees with your boys, Alex and Ryan. Big win yesterday. Now, the Yankees still only scored 3 runs, and the offense is still kind of embarrassing, but Garrett Cole, man, just went to absolute work, and we were hoping for a big performance from him, and he certainly got the job done. A much-needed win snapped the 4-game losing streak, put the Yankees back in the win column and hoping to get another dub today. But, of course, the offense, something to talk about. We have a trade idea in mind for you guys. A player that has some upside. He's having probably one of his best seasons as a professional. What the Yankees may have to give up for him, a really, really good contact hitter. The only thing keeping his OBP down is really just his walk rate, but he's a solid talent, someone that could really provide some immediate offensive contributions, and the outfield could certainly need it. But Ryan, before we dive into this specific player from the Washington Nationals, how you doing tonight, my friend?
I'm doing great. As you mentioned, Garrett Cole, he put together a great performance. I know a lot of people are mad because he did that finger wag thing, but, if you're mad, cry about it. Maybe get more hits against Garrett Cole, maybe score more than one run. Maybe don't intimidate or try to yell at our pitcher as he's walking off the mound after striking out one of your batters with his beautiful 99-mile-per-hour fastballs. But I think when we're looking at the trade deadline, the Yankees are going to have to get very, very creative here. This trade deadline is not very good. And I don't mean to say this to, be a pessimistic person, but a lot of the best players that would be available on this market are on teams that are playing very well. It's very popular to say, the Yankees should trade for Jock Peterson. Jock Peterson's on a really good Giants team. That Giants team is competing for not just a wild card spot. They're pretty close in that division race. So, they feel like they have a shot to win the NL West, and the NL wild card's really bad. So I guess the way they're going to view it is, hey, if we don't win the division, we'll probably make the postseason, and any shot to make the postseason is a golden ticket, right? I know a lot of Yankee fans are, we don't want to make the postseason as like not a great team or whatever it may be. Whenever you make the postseason, all bets are off, right? One shot at the postseason is a shot at the World Series. You just have to play good baseball for 3 weeks. Lane Thomas, who's the guy we're going to be talking about here, gives the Yankees kind of an interesting piece, right? He's really good against left-handed pitching, kind of league average against right-handed pitching, but that's fine. Considering the Yankees have found a lot of production from left-handed hitters, Billy McKinney, Jake Bauers, they've kind of combined to give you some offense, right? Could you kind of put yourself in a platoon situation? Maybe. You mentioned the walk rate for Lane Thomas. He's actually underperforming his walk rate. He has a really low chase rate. He's a pretty disciplined guy. He doesn't actually whiff a lot, despite the strikeout rate being, I think, around like 23%, right? So you feel like those two numbers should improve as the season goes on. You expect his BABIP to come down, but he has pretty good power. He has really good speed. He's in the 95th percentile, I believe, in sprint speed. 94th, excuse me. He's one of these guys who, you really feel like you can get some value out of. And if it's not in a starting role, it could definitely be a platoon role. And could the Yankees try to be a little creative here, especially in an outfield where they've had a lot of injuries, they've had a lot of uncertainty, they've had a lot of, ifs or ands or whatever it may be. I think Lane Thomas really gives the Yankees kind of a creative solution here that shouldn't cost them too much in the prospect department.
Absolutely. I mean, look, Lane Thomas, he's not the best player in the world, guys. And as Ryan mentioned, we're going to have to get kind of creative to boost this Yankee offense. And, we're waiting to get Aaron Judge back, apparently, according to Boone. Yesterday, they had a breakthrough in his, his toe recovery. They still haven't given us a timetable for return, so it kind of indicates that they don't know. But a breakthrough could mean a variety of different things. Maybe the inflammation is gone. Maybe more screening or imaging showing that the ligament is doing better. It's not as inflamed. A lot of things could be happening there. I'm no doctor. But at the end of the day, this offense still needs support. Even when Judge comes back, I still don't think that we have the capacity to win a World Series, because you're looking at Judge being your only consistent variable, right? Gleyber Torres has been solid. Even Jake Bauers has been decent at times. Billy McKinney obviously was the difference yesterday. Like there's a lot of veterans, overpriced guys, Josh Donaldson, Giancarlo Stanton, that are just simply not carrying their weight. And it's unsustainable. If they're not playing well, this team is going to be bad. Even when Aaron Judge gets back, you can't depend on him to save your butt every single day. They've scored 4 or more runs 3 times since Judge has been out. That's been like 2.5 weeks, guys. Like 3 times they've scored 4 or more runs. And I think the maximum it was 7 maybe against the Mets a couple days ago. Like the Yankees are not playing well. Their offense is the reason, right? We're going to get Carlos Rodon back, which is really, really positive. But I'd make a good argument that the offense is way more important. Like if we could look back 2020 hindsight, the Yankees should have done a lot more to boost their offense and really add more capable hitters this past offseason, whether it be a guy like Michael Conforto, whoever. But of course that has passed, and there's no point in going back in time and trying to rework what the Yankees should have done. because it's impossible to say what would have happened. But end of the day, Ryan, when you're looking at Lane Thomas, who do you think you have to give up for him? Like, what kind of prospects are you thinking, like, this is what it would take to get a player of this magnitude? He has a couple more years left of control. He's a free agent in 2026, only arbitration eligible in 2024. He's making $2.2 million, so he's very, very cheap. And the Nationals are bad, like really bad. So if you're looking at a club that's going to be sellers, probably going to be them. They probably want to retool their farm system and hope for the future they can kind of build things back up like the Orioles did. So maybe they are willing to trade a guy like Thomas. And what in your mind would make sense in terms of pieces that you'd be willing to part ways with?
Yeah, so, obviously the fact that he's got 2.5 years of control may make people think, oh, how is he going to be available? They traded Juan Soto at 2.5 years of control, guys. I think Lane Thomas is definitely on the table. I don't think they'd be like, Juan Soto, we'll trade him at that years of control. But Lane Thomas, that's a core piece of our team. There's no shot we trade him. But I don't think it would cost too much to acquire him. I'm not saying that in the sense of, like, you don't have to give up anything important, but you don't have to give up, like, an Oswald Peraza or, like, even an Austin Wells, right? I think a pretty good package here. You actually brought this up, a day ago yesterday when we were talking about Lane Thomas. Elijah Dunham seems like a pretty decent fit. That is an outfielder as well. That could be part of that deal. Could you look from the pitching side of your farm system? They have quite a few arms that are interesting. Edgar Barclay's been a really good reliever in their farm system. I think a guy like Tyrone Yulee, who's been in high A and kind of up and down, but his stuff is pretty good. Could the Yankees maybe put that together? They have a couple of bats as well that's done really well in the lower levels of the minors that the Nationals might want to take a flyer on. I'm thinking a catcher like Augustin Ramirez, who has hit like 113 miles per hour in his exit velocity, has walked more than he struck out in A ball with Tampa. Those are definitely guys that you would envision in this type of deal. If you're the Nationals, you're looking to get guys who either A, can fill in that spot for Lane Thomas, or B, they're ways away from the major league level and could develop into better prospects. You're always trying to find a steal. And I know that this sounds, like, oh, well, why would the Yankees offer players that have the upside to become really good prospects? Well, that's part of trading. You have to take those risks. And if you're not willing to take those risks, you shouldn't be willing to make trades. So, I think the Yankees would probably be looking more at, the A ball to high A level for prospects in this deal. Maybe, as I mentioned earlier, again, like a guy like Elijah Dunham at the AAA level might be a fit. But I don't think you're trading anyone in your top 10 in the organization. If you are, I don't think that's a great move. But one thing that Lane Thomas does bring to the table that I really do like is the pulled fly balls. He's pulled 44.2% of his fly balls, guys. That's going to lead to a lot of really good results. I know that his xWOBA, he's overperforming it, high BABIP, right? But those are the type of things that you can do if you're pulling a lot of your fly balls. I'm a big proponent of the pulled fly ball. And if you can do that at Yankee Stadium, he's going to have a lot of really good results. He hasn't been great defensively. I think that can improve here. He's got really good routes. He's been a solid defender before. He's got a great arm. I think that'll play well in Yankee Stadium. And, end of the day, I think that whatever the Yankees give up, as long as it's nothing crazy, I think they'll feel pretty good about this deal. And again, the guy can play all over the outfield. He's actually even played second and third base in the minor leagues and a little bit of second base in the major leagues. So I wonder if the Yankees play around with that versatility. Could you imagine the Yankees having a guy who's kind of like a better IKF in that sense, right? Like, think about it. That would be an amazing upgrade for this team. That would be the type of upgrade you're looking for. And again, the Yankees could get creative in a postseason situation. You go Jake Bauers in left field against the righty. You go with Lane Thomas against the lefty. Lane Thomas has been basically like 2023 Aaron Judge against lefties. That would be an unbelievable lift for this offense. And that doesn't have to be the main move, right? Obviously, you would want to make more moves than that. But, if you platoon your way into a good left field situation, I think that's about as good as if you were to sign a guy like Conforto. Maybe I'm wrong there.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look, you can try to play the numbers game. You can try to kind of work around some of those deficiencies and utilize a platoon like that. But end of the day, this is going to be a very interesting kind of trade deadline. The Yankees and Cashman are going to have to get creative. They're going to have to find some gems. They're going to have to pray to God they find guys that are going to be able to contribute during a postseason run. It's easier said than done, of course. And I'm curious to see what they would be willing to give up. You know what I mean? Like, if right now it feels like Peraza is being buried, I don't know exactly what the goal is with Peraza, because if you think about it realistically, you look at what his value is right now, and maybe they're trying to protect his service time. Cashman yesterday says something along the lines of he needs to finish off his development. Don't know what that means, because Anthony Volpe clearly needs more development. It's just backward sentiments and really wayward thinking, and I just don't really get the logic behind it. There's a lot more, the fact that he said that says there's a lot more that is not meeting the eye, and there's a lot more information that we just do not know. But clearly there's decision making, that there's a lot of pride going on here, and I feel like they're holding guys back because of decisions they made, whether it be trading for Josh Donaldson or whatever it might be. So, we'll see how things unfold. Obviously, we got you guys covered on the news front there and analysis. As always, my friends, make sure to like and subscribe below. Drop your comments. Always happy to have good conversation. And we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.